Hey, and welcome to another edition of the Financial Advocate Podcast. You've got Colin Meeks and Ryan Stark with you, our two hosts, or your two hosts. And today we're going to be doing just a little recount of the year and just a little recap and a case study. Keep it short and sweet and hopefully give you guys some good powerful content to end the year with. We've been in practice since 1994, and it's funny how the practice has evolved over the years into products have changed, technology has changed, processes have changed, but the one thing that hasn't changed is the people that we deal with, and that's kind of cool. I mean, we miss, a lot of times we get a lot aggravated with a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that we have to put up with, but the face-to-face meetings is something that we enjoy and we always will enjoy. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, and what Ryan and I wanted to talk to you guys about today is reasons why you may be sitting there thinking, I don't need a financial advisor, or I don't want to go see a financial advisor, or I just don't feel like dealing with it. Because very rarely do people just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to go call a financial advisor today because I really think I ought to start taking control of my financial future. I mean, we've got some, we've met with some great people this year, added some great clients, and thinking back on it, not one of them came through on that basis. I mean, there's always something that sort of pushed them to pick up the phone and give us a call. So, Ryan, let's start off here. I mean, why people to come see us? I mean, what's a good category? I mean, what sort of pushes people over the edge? What's one good reason?
And that's a good point you made. There always is a reason. I would say there's always some type of fire underneath. There's always something that's pushing them. Maybe it's their mom or dad going into a nursing home. Maybe they're right about to retire. We always suggest trying to get their ducks in a row beforehand. So we're
right.
Trying to catch people possibly 3 years out, 2 years out. But you don't really think about it as much until you're ready to retire. So it seems that most people are saying, I'm thinking about retiring at the end of the year, maybe back in the summer, and then that would be a reason that, we start moving forward and helping them.
Right. And anytime we get our taxes done every year because there's a hard deadline. Financial planning, there's no hard deadline. There's nothing pushing you to that point. So if you are looking for financial guidance, we have this process that we've talked about before. A lot of times they'll come to us because they just don't know where to start. We always tell people, taking that first step takes the most courage, takes the most confidence, and once you make that first step, it usually makes things a lot easier from that point on. We'll have people come into the office and you can just tell within the first 5 to 10 minutes of talking to them, they go from being like completely on guard and tense and stressed out to, finally, I finally did this and I'm sitting in an office and I'm talking to somebody that can help me. So I think it's very valuable.
Yeah, and I think it's important to notice that it's scary to give your personal information to somebody.
Right.
It's scary to show somebody how much money you have. I notice a lot of times when we sit down with somebody, sometimes they'll lead with, here's my statement, and then they start defending it as if they didn't save enough money. And that's, we're not here to pass judgment. We're not here looking at, amounts in terms of even what seems other people. And all I can say is that nobody ever thinks they have enough.
Right. I mean, and it's funny because they're, we can sort of script the first 5 to 10 minutes of every appointment because they do what Ryan just said, and then they say, well, I probably don't have as much as a lot of your other clients, and I should have done this, and that, and I wish I would have called you 6 years ago, and I'm giving money to my kids. It's like everything is. We could script that first 5 to 10 minutes and just say, okay, out of these 20 things, most people will say 18 of them.
Agreed.
And it's kind of funny. And one of the other things that might keep you from coming to see a financial advisor, if you don't know where to start, maybe that's the thing that pushes you over the edge. But maybe there was a bad experience somewhere along the way. For the most part, financial advisors that we deal with, that we refer business to, and they refer business to us. I mean, they're all good, honest, hardworking people, but there are some experiences out there that people have had that it just sort of scares them off. And if that's happened to you, not everybody's the same. Not everybody's process is the same, and we think our process is a little bit unique and different, and it sort of it takes a lot of the anxiety out of it. But we certainly understand if you do have a bad experience.
Yeah, we try to be real people. We want to connect with you, learn about your kids, learn about your situation. Nieces and nephews, whatever's important to you is going to be important to us. one thing I've realized is after talking to, a number of people this year is that I found out some people are actually afraid of their advisor. They're nervous about calling him.
Yeah.
They don't want to be sold something, or that you don't know what it's going to cost, or you're just afraid something's going to move around, and that can't be part of the relationship. You got to have somebody you trust, somebody that you can, somebody that you believe in that's doing the right thing for you. Because remember, if you're using an advisor, the chances are you don't understand your money or your situation as well as you wish you did. So if you're putting all this trust in this person, you have to be comfortable with calling them and sitting down with them. Especially with this volatility recently, we've had a lot of clients challenging us on, the plans we set in place.
Yeah.
Hey guys, money's going down now, what do we do? And that's why we have the planning process in the beginning, so that we can tell people with our confidence everything's going to be okay, and this is why.
Yeah, and we hope it's going to be okay. We can't guarantee that, but
Of course.
as we have a plan written out, we know that, hey, at least the very best we can do is stick to that plan. We can't guarantee what the money's going to do and what the market's going to do, but if we have that plan, we at least know we can pull certain levers at certain times and try to make things move along with planning. And excuse me, just to get to your point with the people are afraid of their advisors, two things happened this year that sort of brought that up to me. We met with a new client, and we got she hired us to do her planning, and she wanted to keep her other advisor in the mix, and that's fine by us. We're not threatened by that. We're willing to work with another advisor. We're certainly more than open to having clients that have money in a couple different places. We were able to find something that was a little more advantageous for her for one of these little pots of money. And it was substantial in the extra benefits that she would be getting, but she wound up not doing it because she'd been working with this other advisor for so long, and she felt guilty for us suggesting to move the money into a different situation so that she could realize all these other benefits. And it was just it was frustrating to one degree. But I could certainly understand it to the other. But I mean, it definitely left her off in a better situation from our standpoint. But she was afraid to call the advisor and say, "Hey, here's what I'm doing." And I think we got to the end of it, and we said, "Well, call him and do what we're telling. Just do it with him." And I don't know if that ever came to fruition or not. But it was just one of those things that's just very frustrating.
Yeah, and I think I know who you're speaking about. And actually, whether it was the same person or not, I just talked to a client that we just met this year, and she asked me a few questions about her account, and as I was displaying it, one of the figures was, and let me tell you what you paid us this year. For some reason we got there.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh wow, I don't even know how much my other advisor's making. He's never told me how much he makes."
Yeah.
So it's something we try to be very transparent, because we don't want you to get the wrong view of us or expect one thing and get another. So if we tell you everything up front, during our little 2-meeting process that we have to get to know people, then we feel comfortable moving forward with the relationship, because you're not waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, fee transparency, act in a fiduciary capacity, make sure we're always doing what's in the best interest of our clients, above and beyond anything else. So don't be afraid of your advisor. It doesn't happen very often. We lost a client within the last 2 months. The reason why we lost the client was because what we were doing for the last 10 years for this client, with their investments, they decided that they were interested in a product, another type of product that they thought would put them in a better situation. And we feel very strongly that we don't sell those products. We don't believe in them. We don't want anything to do with them. But it was his decision, his money. He wasn't afraid to make the call, picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Colin, we're moving our money." I said, "Tell me a little bit about it." Okay, told him why we didn't agree with it, but let me help you get from here to there so that there's not any unnecessary taxes, fees, expenses that you would have done if you had to try to do it on your own. So we know that it's not our money, it's your money. And we want to make sure that you put your money where you want to put it. We hope that we are able to put you in a better situation, but if there's something else out there that you feel that would do that and we're not on board with it, we're not going to fight you with it. We're going to help you get the money from here to there with the least amount of aggravation and cost as possible. So don't be afraid of your advisor. If you are, maybe it's time to start interviewing other advisors. Another reason, so let's sort of switch gears. Another reason that people will not go to see a financial advisor is because they feel like they don't have enough money. Like we said, the first 5 to 10 minutes of our appointments, we can sort of script what's going on, and people always feel like, hey, I don't have $250,000, or I don't have $500,000, or I don't have $1 million. There's advisors out there that sort of set these minimums to how much money they're willing to work with, and we don't do that. We're more interested in working with a person as opposed to a dollar amount. So just know that you don't have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to get good financial advice. We do pro bono work for clients. We'd rather do something for free and put them in a better situation and give them better ideas as opposed to just completely turning them away.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that I love about our planning process and how we do things, because there's times when we say, well, here's a fixed annuity and what you can get for this percentage, but you sound like somebody who's wants FDIC insurance, so maybe here's a CD for you, or here's an online savings account where you can have access to your money. Maybe it's around 1%, blah, 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 but we don't make commission on some of those things. But that's why it's nice to go through the process, because we charge a simple fee, and then we can point you in any direction that we think is best for you, rather than pointing you to something that pays us in the end.
Right, and so if you're sitting out there listening, saying, or all my money's tied up in my 401k, so or in our retirement plan, we don't need an advisor to help us manage that, but you still might need some help. You still might need somebody to take a look at your insurance, and you might need somebody to take a look at your overall financial plan and your risk and everything else that comes into contact, or your mortgage, or any debt that you have. So it's not just about how much money can I invest with this financial advisor to make it worth both of our whiles. That's not the way it works with our practice. And we'll get into fees towards the end of this, but we lay it out there. We're very transparent about that. So if we have clients that'll come in for their meetings and they'll bring us these seminar invitations they get, and they just want to show us all the other stuff that's out there. And a lot of times on the bottom of those invitations it says, this presentation is meant for people with $250,000 of investable assets. Well, that right off the bat tells you that person doesn't want to work with anybody that has less than $250,000, and that's fine if that's their business model. That's just not the way we choose to do things.
Yeah.
Okay, so other types of people that, or other reasons people don't want to sit down with a financial advisor, they just don't want a sales presentation. It's cut and dry. And that's really what our industry has been known for over the years. When I first started out in 1994, you selling long-term care insurance, and that was, call people up, try to get in their door, and go give them a sales presentation. It was it was very straightforward as to what they wanted us to do, and if I was sitting on the other side of the table, it wouldn't be very comfortable. So that's why a lot of times people, they come in here guarded, Ryan, don't they?
Absolutely. And you can hear it in a tone of somebody's voice, I feel like, when they're trying to sell you something versus trying to educate you about something. So that's something obviously we try to do, is educate and teach you. We understand you may not know everything we know, so we try to hold back from some of the industry jargon and some of the other things that the buzzwords that you hear a lot but may scare you away. Try to break it down in layman's terms, because we want you to understand what you're doing, should you move forward. Right.
And a sales, nobody likes to hear it. My wife and we go shopping for, whatever, a closet, to redo a closet in our house. The guy comes out and designs the closet, and then you get a really hard sales pitch. You get your windows tinted. These are all things I've done in my house. So nobody likes to be on the other end of that. You just like to see what it is, find out how much it costs, and then make a decision. And it's, I understand people are in the sales profession to make a living, but it doesn't mean that it can't be done in a more, let's see, what's the best way, more comfortable way, or a more advantageous way.
Absolutely. When I think about every time I've done a little bit of work on my house and use each new remodeling company, I think it's the same process throughout the same thing.
Yeah.
And then I know I'm going to get a call every 4 months asking me if I want to do my windows or my doors, trying to upsell. And I understand that businesses need to run and need to try to make money, but I don't know if I'm just changing or if people are changing in general, but I think we're all getting uncomfortable with the people knocking on our doors, the people calling our phones. There's so much information out there that we can go get the information. Right. You don't want somebody bugging you, telling you what's right for you. Yep. And that's part of the, I think that's why sometimes people don't do this right away, is because maybe we're not reaching out to them, or they need to come find us because there's a situation pushing them to do so.
Yeah, exactly. And what we do is a commodity as far as products. You can go on Vanguard's website or Fidelity's website or Charles Schwab, and you can go buy your life insurance online, and you can go do a financial plan online, and you can go to a robo-advisor and have them manage your, everything is commoditized, and the fees are almost nothing anymore. So we're not trying to replace that, but the human component of it, what we do is try to put it all together. And if it involves us in implementing it, that's fine. But if it doesn't involve us in implementing, that's fine too, because we're going to get paid either way. We charge a fair hourly fee, and again, try to be as straightforward as possible. So that sales presentation is just not there. So a couple other reasons that people don't go to see a financial advisor. Along the lines of the sales presentation is because they don't know what the costs are. They don't know what the cost should be. They don't have anything to compare it to, because it's not like, you go buy tires for your car. All right, it's, $150 a tire, or you go to the dentist, or you go to a lawyer, it's $250 an hour. All financial advisors, there's no standard schedule out there that says you have to run your business in a certain way. We publish a fee schedule right on our website. Most advisors, a lot of advisors these days do, but if you're dealing with somebody that's purely sales driven, if they're selling product, there might be no fee, but there's also commission built into the product. So you just, and they might not have to disclose that to you. Well, we disclose commissions, we disclose fees, we put it right out there in front of you throughout the whole process, so that okay, if I do this, this is what it's going to cost me. If I do this, it's not going to cost me anything, but here's the commission that these guys are making. What's their stake in the game? And we find that to be very comforting to people, because it's fair. I mean, we just know, hey, if we ask you to put, say, all right, your plan calls to put $100,000 into product X, and we're going to make 3% commission on product X, we want you to know that we're making $3,000. But a lot of guys and a lot of financial advisors, there's no law that says you have to do that. So but we try to be way ahead of things.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, so costs. Couple to finish up. A lot of times people are just purely intimidated. Ryan is he's a little newer in the business than I am, but and he sees these same things. I mean, there's really nothing to be intimidated about by coming to our office. At least we hope not. I mean, we send out a welcome letter. You pull up, you see our office. We're not in one of these big high glass towers with 10 secretaries. I mean, it's just us, and we're people. We're not trying to educate you on every industry jargon term and try to get you to be market experts. I mean, we really want to get down to the granular and say, hey, how can we really help you out, and how can we get to know you a little bit better before we make any recommendations? I mean, intimidation. If you're intimidated, I know I do when sometimes when we go to a certain doctor's office or a lawyer's office. I mean, sometimes it's just the way you are. You get anxiety before you walk in the door.
Sure, and it's hard to know. I mean, you don't know what you're getting. We try to be as transparent as possible, but you don't know until you're there. And that's part of the reason why I like being, like you said, people, because it allows us to connect and, get through that first layer of defense. And then we're really able to help somebody, because, if you don't share information with us, there's nothing we could do. I've had phone calls where people, either hide figures or something that I'm not trying to dig to see how much money they have. I really need to know something. Right. I need to know X so I can give them answer Y. But if you're too guarded, somebody's not going to be able to help you. So it's good to meet, feel comfortable, drop that first wall, and then we can really get through to the nitty gritty and help you with what's on your mind.
Yeah, and it's the equivalent of going and plopping down in your doctor's office and not telling him anything, and then expecting him to just say, okay, here's the prescriptions you need to take. I mean, it just doesn't happen. The last reason, and then we'll sort of wrap it up. A lot of times people don't come and see an advisor or another advisor because they think they're on the right track. But I will tell you that it's never a bad idea to get a second opinion. Yep. And it doesn't mean you have to, again, we're not, don't go sit through a sales presentation, but get a second opinion. Get it from somebody that's acting in a fiduciary capacity, and they're acting in your best interest, and they're getting paid for the second opinion that they're giving you. Because if you're not paying for that second opinion, that just means that there might be a financial product sale at the end of it. So being on the second opinion is also another good idea. So all right, so Ryan, our complete planning and review process, we've sort of honed this thing in over the last, say, 10 years into a 2-meeting process. We charge, we're actually going to raise the price to $397 next year in 2019. What that covers, tell people what that covers and how they can go about scheduling that.
So just as Colin described, it's a 2-meeting process. First meeting is, we like to describe it as like a first date. We're getting to know each other, we're collecting information, we're gathering data, so that in meeting 2, we can provide you with answers and recommendations to all of your questions and concerns.
Right. That's about as simple as you can put it. And no product sales. We're not going to ask you to write a check. Well, we will ask you to write one check
for $297.
for $297 or $397. But there's no product sales. We're not going to ask you to sign any forms to move money. We're not going to ask you to buy an insurance policy. We're not going to ask you to buy an annuity. We're not going to ask you to invest any money any differently than you are. Our goal for this whole process is to have that first date with you and then come back the second time and say, okay, here's what we see. Here's what our experience tells us. Here's what you told us the last time. And here's how, you might be able to do this and do that and sort of match things up a little bit differently than they are now. So you can give us a call in the office to do that. Excuse me. You can call Ryan at our office, 410-663-0700. We send out a checklist and sort of a what to bring. We can also do it virtually. We're in Baltimore, Maryland, but if you're somewhere else that you'd like to get this done, we're more than happy to do it by phone, or we can do it through our internet portal where we can actually see each other and go through the process there. So.
And just dropping back to why it's good to get a second opinion, or one last, I guess, thought to give everybody is, as financial planners, when we're doing a plan, we're touching on all facets of your money. So we're looking at estate planning, we're looking at insurance, we're touching on taxes, we're crossing over lines of different professionals. We don't go too far, we don't go outside of our comfort zone, but we know enough to tell you that you need help. So one of the benefits of getting a second opinion is, even if you're comfortable with your money, we just met with somebody a few weeks ago who I think was 70, a little above 70, and they didn't have a will or updated documents.
That's right, yeah.
And something like that when you have children is just crucial. And sometimes things get pushed to the back. And now we'll do our job of not trying to be too annoying, but bugging him to do the right thing and making sure he gets his estate planning. And that has nothing to do with us. It has some to do with us, but we don't get a fee for that. We don't get a kickback when we refer somebody to an estate planner. We try to keep it even by giving you a few names. And then so sometimes what I'm saying is, you don't even deal with us. We're just the network to other professionals that you need to complete your plan.
Right. Yep. So that's, that all comes as part of the process. In the second meeting, we give you written recommendations, and if you need referrals for any of that stuff, we go ahead and do that. So, go ahead and get your CPR scheduled. Complete planning review, we're more than happy to do it. We have a money-back guarantee, so we're not even, if we get through the first meeting and we find that, hey, we're not going to be able to help you, or you're not going to benefit from us, or we just don't get along, you don't like us, we don't like you, whatever the case is, we're not trying to take your money if we can't help you. So give us a call if you're interested in doing that. Thanks for listening to another episode of our podcast. We really enjoyed doing these, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks.